Welcome. We're the CoreBridge GCC Desk.
Cool.
Our mission is, well, pretty straightforward. We provide strategic intelligence, cutting through the noise.
We're here to help leaders, both global and Indian, really grasp India's growing role as the world's key hub for global capability centers.
Yeah, we look past the headlines, you know.
The idea is to show how India's ecosystem isn't just taking on tasks for M&E's multinational enterprises, but is actually shaping global business transformation.
And IP creation, new market strategies, it's a bigger picture.
Absolutely.
Today, we're diving into something foundational, a huge national ambition that, frankly, should inform every strategic investment decision in India right now.
That's right. This is our look at episode 2, India's economic ambition, Viksit Bharat at 2047.
Viksit Bharat. It sounds big.
It is. It's India's national vision to become a developed, high-income nation. We're talking a $30 to $35 trillion economy by 2047.
Wow.
And importantly, it's much more than just a catchy name. It's a government-wide economic roadmap that's actively driving policy right now.
Okay, so for our audience, for the global CXOs listening, how does this vision change the game? How does it reposition India?
Fundamentally, it moves India beyond just being, say, a low-cost place to get work done.
Right.
It positions the country as a high-value partner. Think co-innovation, creating intellectual property, and maybe crucially, as a strategic gateway to the whole Asia-Pacific market.
So our conversation today is about connecting those dots, linking this huge national goal, Viksit Bharat, to actual GCC strategy.
Exactly. We need to unpack how this vision turns into real state policies, what it means for finding and keeping talent, and, well, how you, as an M&E leader, should position your GCCs to really leverage all this.
Okay, let's start with that big picture then, Viksit Bharat. When we break it down, what are the core ambitions relevant to GCC strategy?
We see 3 key pillars. First, scale. This is about rapid GDP growth, yes, but also massive job creation.
Okay, scale. Got it.
Second, capability. This means a serious upgrade to the technology, the research, the whole innovation ecosystem nationwide.
Right. Not just doing tasks, but creating new things.
Precisely. And the third pillar, often underestimated but critical for talent, is inclusion.
Inclusion, meaning?
Meaning deliberately spreading economic opportunity, those high-value jobs, beyond just the handful of big metro cities.
Okay. And how is this backed up? What's the policy machinery?
Well, it involves huge public investments, ongoing reforms to make doing business easier, and very targeted programs designed to essentially de-risk private investment.
That sounds impressive nationally, but let me push back a bit. If I'm a global CXO looking at my P&L, why does India's GDP target matter directly to my GCC strategy? What's the concrete
Fair question. The tangible benefit is twofold: market access and relevance.
Yeah.
Higher GDP, growing domestic demand. It means your M&E isn't just supporting global operations from India anymore. Increasingly, you're prototyping, testing, adapting products for the Indian market itself.
So the GCC shifts from just a cost center
to a strategic asset for market entry.
Exactly. Interesting. And on the capability point, those government programs, skilling, patent incentives, how do they translate into actual savings for an M&E?
They directly lower the marginal cost of building high-value capabilities.
How so?
Well, think about it. If you want your India team to own a whole product, not just follow instructions from HQ, you need specialized skills, IP protection.
Right, that costs money.
It does. But when the government co-funds skilling or offers reimbursements for filing patents, they're essentially subsidizing your move up the value chain.
Right.
It's a financial cushion for building out that product ownership muscle in your GCC.
Okay, that makes sense. Which brings us back to inclusion, the decentralization goal. If the national strategy is to spread the wealth, does this make states compete harder for these valuable GCC projects?
Oh, absolutely. Fiercely. And that competition is fantastic news for investors.
Yes.
Because states are rolling out better, more specific incentives for companies willing to invest in those emerging Tier 2, even Tier 3 cities. It makes the non-metro option suddenly very, very attractive financially.
So the key insight here isn't just India's getting cheaper. It's more that this national vision, Viksit Bharat, provides the policy framework that allows GCCs to make a strategic shift.
Exactly. Moving from pure cost-saving centers to actual hubs of innovation and market expansion.
And that strategic shift, you said, relies on local policy levers.
It does. This is where India's federal structure is so important. The state governments are the ones translating the national vision into concrete actions that attract investment.
And we've seen movement there recently.
Definitely. Over the last, say, 18 months, we've seen states launch really detailed, operational GCC policies specifically designed to align with Viksit Bharat.
Okay, so what do these policies actually offer? Beyond a simple tax break, what can an MNE really count on?
It's quite targeted, actually. First, things like payroll subsidies and staged financial support.
Staged support.
Yes, often front-loaded for the first 2 or 3 years. It's designed to reduce the risk of hiring expensive, high-value talent when you're just starting up in a new location.
Okay, that addresses a key pain point. What else?
Significant CapEx and OpEx support. Think reimbursements for infrastructure costs, office rent, even things like cloud computing expenses. It tackles those big initial setup costs.
And you mentioned the IP focus earlier.
Crucial. States are offering direct patent and IP assistance. This can include grants to cover the costs of filing international patents
Wow.
and support for setting up dedicated centers of excellence. Combine that with mandated links to universities, co-funded internships. It shows a real commitment to building specialized skills.
Plus, smoother bureaucracy.
That too. Streamlined governance is key. Things like single window clearances, dedicated points of contact SPOCs within the government. It just makes the whole ramp-up process faster and less painful.
Can we talk specific examples? Like Gujarat. They have a new policy, right?
They do. The 2025-2030 GCC policy. It's ambitious. They're pushing cluster development, leveraging hubs like GIFT T-City, that's the Gujarat International Finance Tech City, their special zone for finance and tech.
Right, Gifty City.
And really focusing incentives on attracting high-value integrated operations.
And another example, maybe Madhya Pradesh.
Yes, Madhya Pradesh is interesting. Their 2024 policy very explicitly ties incentives like payroll subsidies and CapEx support directly to R&D and IP creation goals.
So they understand modern GCCs are about innovation.
Clearly, the policy structure is designed to de-risk that early-stage financial commitment needed for genuine research and development work.
Okay, but let's address a potential risk. If states are competing so fiercely with subsidies, isn't there a danger that MNEs just play them off against each other? Focus only on maximizing the short-term cash, maybe leading to poor long-term planning. A race to the bottom.
That's a valid strategic question for sure, and something companies need to watch.
So how is that playing out?
Well, what we're seeing is that the smarter state policies aren't just throwing money around. They often require long-term commitments in return.
Commitments like?
Things like mandatory university partnerships, specific targets for upskilling local talent, commitments to IP creation within the state.
So it's quid pro quo.
Exactly. The policies aim to attract companies genuinely interested in building capability and talent pipelines for the long haul, not just grabbing the cheapest deal. It's about fostering mutual, sustainable growth in the ecosystem, which helps avoid that simple race to the bottom.
This state competition ties back nicely to that inclusion pillar you mentioned, spreading activity to smaller cities.
It does. And for GCC leaders, this decentralization is potentially huge. It unlocks access to new, untapped talent pools.
And helps manage costs, presumably, away from the expensive metros.
Precisely. It's a crucial hedge against rising operational costs in places like Bangalore or Hyderabad, which are becoming hyper-competitive.
Let's talk talent. The narrative is strong. India's engineering and IT education has expanded well beyond the big cities.
It really has. You look at Tier 2 cities now, and they're graduating tens of thousands of potential hires every year. And not just generalists, people skilled in data science, specialized engineering fields, even foundational AI and machine learning.
And is the quality there?
It's definitely rising, especially where universities and industry are collaborating closely. We're seeing pockets of specialization emerging in cities like Pune, Jaipur, Indore. It's quite dynamic.
And the cost side?
The numbers are compelling. Wages, housing costs, significantly lower in Tier 2 compared to the Tier 1 metros.
Lower cost is good, but talent retention is often the real prize, isn't it? Especially for complex R&D work.
Absolutely, and that's where Tier 2 can shine. Shorter commutes, often a better work-life balance. It frequently translates into better retention rates than you see in the really congested metros. That stability is gold for capability centers.
Okay, but let's be the devil's advocate here, like any CXO would. Tier 2 sounds great on paper, talent costs, retention, but what about infrastructure? Connectivity issues,
Right.
reliable power, mature vendor support for things like security or specialized IT.
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Right. Are India's Tier 2 cities really ready to be billion-dollar GCC corridors, or is there still a significant logistical risk involved?
The reality is they're transforming incredibly fast. And importantly, those state policies we discussed, they're often designed specifically to bridge those infrastructure and vendor gaps.
How so? Give me an example.
Okay, take connectivity. Some state incentive packages, like in Madhya Pradesh, include OpEx support that directly targets high-cost items like premium internet bandwidth or cloud service costs, especially in the first few years.
So they're subsidizing the infrastructure risk.
Effectively, yes. It de-risks that specific concern. Of course, M&Es still need to do rigorous due diligence on locations, but the government support shifts the equation. It becomes less about fundamental risk and more about careful execution planning.
Let's put some scale around this whole GCC growth story. What are the numbers looking like?
The ecosystem in India, it recently generated over $60 billion in revenue. That's significant.
And looking forward.
Projections suggest the market could hit roughly $100 billion by the end of this decade.
Wow. And people, headcount.
We expect it to grow from under 2 million today to somewhere between 2.5 and 2.8 million by 2030. But the really important shift isn't just the total number. It's the type of roles. We're seeing a notable increase in senior leadership and genuine product ownership roles being based outside the traditional metro hubs.
Numbers give context, but let's make it real. Talk about a specific company making this choice.
Okay, we tracked a case recently, a global healthcare company. They needed to consolidate their R&D and data analytics for the Asia-Pacific region into one hub.
Where did they look? The usual suspects. Bangalore, Hyderabad.
The short list of those, yes. But ultimately, they chose the Bhopal-Indore corridor in Madhya Pradesh, a Tier 2 choice.
Interesting. Why? What tipped the scales?
It was a classic case of smart policy alignment winning out. MP's policy offered that structured payroll subsidy for the first 3 years, plus generous help with patent filing costs.
Addressing their key risks head on.
Exactly. Talent acquisition cost and IP protection. The policy directly mitigated those early operational risks.
And did they just take the incentives, or did they engage locally?
They engaged deeply. They used state grants to actually co-design parts of the curriculum with local universities.
Really?
Yes, creating a subsidized internship program that fed directly into their hiring pipeline. It showed real commitment to building the local ecosystem, not just benefiting from it.
Okay, now let's talk reality check. Success stories often gloss over the challenges. What were the biggest hurdles for this company in those first 24 months?
Good point. The primary challenges were around leadership and the vendor ecosystem.
Meaning?
Getting top-tier executives to relocate from metros initially required pretty hefty mobility packages. And finding truly experienced local leaders took longer than they'd hoped.
And vendors.
The support system for really specialized needs, think high-end security, complex integrated IT services, wasn't quite at the same level as in the big metros. They had to bring more services in-house initially than planned.
So not perfectly smooth sailing?
No, there were definitely initial hiccups. But crucially, the long-term ROI calculations factored those in and still came out strongly positive.
What were the outcomes after 2 years?
Well, they hit about 60% of their hiring target, which was decent, but importantly, retention among mid-level engineers was very strong.
And the innovation piece, the reason they set up R&D there.
That was the big win. They filed 2 international patents with costs partly reimbursed by the state, remember? And they successfully took over full ownership of a product module that used to be managed out of their European HQ.
That's significant capability transfer.
Very. And the financials.
Tell me.
Even after accounting for those extra costs for leadership mobility and the initial skilling investments, their total cost of ownership over 2 years was 35% to 40% lower than their projections for doing the same thing in a major metro.
35 to 40% lower, that's substantial.
It is. And it gives us a kind of operational playbook for other M&Es considering Tier 2.
Which is?
Phased ramp-up is key. Maybe you start with transactional or support functions to test the waters, then scale up to the more complex product and platform teams.
Makes sense.
Invest heavily in local leadership development early, and use those mobility programs strategically. And finally, partner deeply with the state government from day one. Leverage those subsidies and university tie-ups to accelerate your high-value capability building. Don't just see them as cash handouts.
Okay, so wrapping this up, the big strategic takeaway feels clear. Viksit Bharat at 2047 isn't just a domestic goal, it's the engine driving India's transformation.
From just a cost-effective location to a genuine strategic partner, defined by innovation, IP ownership, product development.
Right.
And for M&Es listening, the message seems to be, the window for making strategic bets is now. State policies are competitive. They're designed to lower your early risks.
And talent is decentralizing.
Exactly. So the smart play isn't just doubling down on one metro. It's about designing more resilient modular footprints. balancing costs, talent, and risk across the established hubs and these up-and-coming Tier 2 cities.
We really encourage you, our listeners, to explore the resources we've put together. The CoreBridge GCC Desk has curated policy insights, data, and a detailed study guide. You'll find the links in the description.
We're here to help investors navigate this. We can support you in building those investor-ready location maps, designing skilling pipelines, operationalizing plans that really align with these national goals.
So if this conversation sparked questions about your own GCC footprint or your future strategy,
please reach out. Connect with the CoreBridge GCC Desk. We'd welcome a deeper discussion and can offer tailored analysis for your situation.
Join us next time. We'll be shifting focus a bit, looking at how specific disruptive technologies think AI, advanced data analytics, are intersecting with these strategic GCC location choices.
Yeah, we'll explore where the next wave of centers of excellence might land, and crucially, why. It should be fascinating.
We appreciate you tuning in.
We really do. And we look forward to continuing to help you shape the future of global capability leadership right here from India.
Until next time.
Just a reminder, the views expressed today are our own and don't necessarily represent those of CoreBridge GCC Desk or any associated entities. All data comes from publicly available reports and analyses, which are cited in our episode materials.